I've seen quite a few people starting to be worried about the Isak deal, saying if Newcastle can't get Cisco and them not seemingly able to get their main striker targets, what's going to happen to Alexander Isak? Can they force him to stay? Is there a chance he doesn't end up at Liverpool? And I'm going to tell you why I believe he will end up at Liverpool Football Club. And I'm not saying that this is going to be an easy deal to get over the line. It's going to be a British record transfer fee. So it's not like it's going to happen overnight. Deals like these take a long time. But the reason why I think, from Newcastle's point of view, as much as I think the owners and Eddie Howe want to keep him, I think you never want to keep around a player who doesn't want to be at the football club. It doesn't matter how good they are. It's just not good for the overall team, and that matters much more than individuals. And I will say one of the things that really impresses me with Newcastle is they truly play like a team. And so I don't think they'll see any individual being more important than that. And I was listening to Neil Warnock on the radio actually this morning, and he was saying how, from a manager's point of view, he knows what that's like, and he says once a player's has been made up, there's no changing that. There's no changing that in terms of it's a strong stance that he's taken. And I actually read a report this morning too from Melissa Reddy that said even from last season, he had apparently made it clear behind the scenes that he wanted it to be his last season in Newcastle, that he had been wanting to leave already by last season. So internally, yes, now it's been made public, but internally, apparently, it's been known that he wanted to leave the football club, and probably even more so this summer when you look at how the football club is run and how difficult it is for them to get their targets. I think it might make him want to leave even more so, because he knows how short a football career is, and Liverpool are desperate to sign him. Desperate to sign him. And I think because of all those reasons, we're going to push hard, and the more it looks like Isak won't change his mind, which I don't see happening. It very rarely happens that a player makes up his mind in a strong way like that and then suddenly just changes his mind. I haven't, almost never happens. But the reason why I do believe it will happen is because, from our point of view, Liverpool Football Club's point of view, this is a pure market opportunity. This is us saying we have a chance to arguably sign the best striker in world football, and we're going to push really hard on it. We're going to push really hard on it because we believe he's a player, 25, 26, who can deliver for the club for the next 4 to 5 years at the elite level. And that's why we're willing to pay that transfer fee. And I've seen a lot of people say, why are we getting Alexander Isak when we have Ugo Ekitike? I think a big part as to why we're going so big on someone like Alexander Isak when you could argue we don't necessarily need him right now. I think this is, again, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards planning for the future. You know how we signed Mamardashvili pre-Alisson, saying he would leave or anything like that? I think this Alexander Isak signing, I understand they don't play in the same position. I think it's the club slowly and trying to replace Mohamed Salah, because in 2 years' time, I'd be very surprised if he's the same player. His contract will be run out. And what I mean by that is a player who delivers big numbers, who can carry the team in the final third. And that's what Mohamed Salah has been doing for so many years, in terms of being so lethal in the final third. I think Alexander Isak can be that player because, when he'll be surrounded by the likes of Florian Wirtz, Ugo Ekitike, Cody Gakpo, Rio Angamoa now, like so many young talents, I believe it'll even increase his output even more, and we're talking about a midfield behind him as well, like Gravenberch, Maka, Soboslai, like incredible players. That's only going to elevate his game. Your game gets elevated when you play with great individuals like that in a team. So I believe that's Liverpool's long-term planning, and that's one of the reasons why we are willing to spend so big and why we are willing to put so much on one player, because we know players like Mohamed Salah who can deliver big numbers are so rare to come by, and I think we see Alexander Isak as having that potential to be a star man for Liverpool Football Club in the final third in terms of goals output. We saw how much he's elevated his level at Newcastle, and I still think he's young, 25, 26. He can only really improve. So imagine the Alexander Isak that we saw last season. He even bullied Liverpool Football Club when we were playing at St. James Park. Remember that goal he scored from outside the bullet on Alisson Becker? And then in the Carabao Cup final, he's there for the big moments. This player stood up in the big games against the big teams, and that's why you have to pay that kind of transfer fee, which is crazy. I agree, and it's not usually the way we go about things, but I believe we're looking at the long-term planning, and I believe we see an opportunity to dominate English football. You know, I don't think Pep Guardiola is going to be here in 1 to 2 years, and Arsenal, we don't quite know. You know, Arteta hasn't won the big trophies yet, so I believe, you know, FSG, because FSG will definitely have to sign off on such a big. I mean, literally, apparently, we're interested in signing the club. No, not signing. In buying the club Getafe in La Liga. Alexander Isak would cost more. Just the acquisition of Alexander Isak, a single player, would cost more than buying Getafe, the football club. I know it sounds crazy, but that's, you know, the football world we live in. And trust me, because it is that crazy of a fee for Alexander Isak, you best believe FSG would have had to sign off on this a long while ago. And you best believe that Michael Edwards would have had this in his sight for a long while now. Trust me, this is not like, oh, suddenly Isak is unhappy, so we have these funds ready. We would have been ready for this market opportunity for a while and seen it coming, because these are the best in the business, you know? So yeah, that's why I do believe we're going to go so hard, and why Newcastle are eventually going to be forced to sell. And I do feel for the Newcastle fans, because it seems like Benjamin Sesko, who is their main target, might choose United over them somehow. I don't understand. It seems like it's wages at the end of the day. But now they're looking at Muniz. I'm not sure who they'll end up with. It absolutely won't be a player on Alexander Isak's level. But that's, you know, the position they're in right now. They're in a difficult moment off the pitch, you know, in terms of their recruitment and convincing players. But yeah, guys, let me know if you're in the same boat, if you're feeling confident or not about Alexander Isak. And mind you, I never said it was going to be done like this week or anything like that. These deals take a while, but I'm still confident he will end up a Liverpool player, because of how much he wants it and how much Liverpool want it and how much Newcastle will eventually have to accept it. So yeah, guys, in the building, let me know. Do you believe Alexander Isak will end up a Liverpool player? How confident are you? And how excited are you for this season to come? I've never been more excited. So anyways, guys, as always, thank you for the support. I've had to be kind of in the bushes today, like yesterday, because it's so windy here. But it's still a nice spot, you know, around nature. Never going to complain. Anyways, guys, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And I'll see you very, very soon. Ciao, guys.